Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another beautiful day in Georgetown, Ontario. Today is end of November. It's back to green and it's going to be about 8 degrees today. I have a feeling later on the day I will be able to go on a quick drive. Thank God. I must have did something nice this year. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Car Addiction. Today we're going to talk about what to look for when you want to buy an R32 Skyline. If this is your first time in my channel, I'm a huge Nissan enthusiast. I have an R32 Skyline, a couple of 300ZX twin turbo. There's 1, 2, and my baby is inside a heated storage. So yeah, it's not coming out. I have a $500 Nissan Xterra. Watch the link. And it has been nothing but a giant pickle in the R's. And I also have an MR2. I don't know why. Somebody buy it off me, please. All right, if you're under the age of 21, watch a cat video, talk to a female, enjoy the holidays. Don't be a car enthusiast. It is a giant financial mistake that you can't not get out of. Now the warning is out of the way. Let's talk about what you need to look for when you're trying to buy an R32 Skyline. So you have decided to become a proud owner of the legendary R32 Skyline, and you're looking the interweb for the best deal out there. And on the other hand, you're also looking at the interweb on what mods to do. Stop. Don't do it. All right. First of all, if you are buying an R32 Skyline, don't buy somebody's project. Someone's flying a Cessna, like whatever. Don't buy somebody's project, because that guy has been sitting on a project for X amount of years. Now he's gonna pass it over to somebody, and that's gonna sit on an X amount of years. Do yourself a favor. Find a clean, running, driving, unmodified R32 Skyline. Buy that. Yes, it will cost you a little bit more money, but you know what? You're gonna have a running, driving car that you can actually safety, insure, get it plated, and enjoy. Not sit on in your garage like a giant, expensive paperweight. I cannot tell you how many times I talk to these early 20-year-old kids. They have R32 Skyline, like GTSD like me, or a twin turbo Z. You know, they have big plans, big turbos. They bought all of these parts. They throw money left, right, and center buying these parts, and I usually ask them a little question. Hey, let's go for a drive one day. And 9 out of 10 times, this is the response I get.
Oh no, the parts are, it needs to be installed, it needs to be put together, oh, it needs a tune.
It never needs a tune, okay? Nothing ever needs a tune. And they sit on it for years that the tune never comes. Or when you go in your interweb, when you look for a Skyline and, people come with X amount of parts list, and at the bottom it says, oh, it needs a tune. You go see the car, it doesn't need a tune. The engine and motor and all the parts sitting on the floor, all right? It's not a tune. Trust me, I have seen way too many of these. First of all, in North America, there's only X amount of people who are qualified or know how to work on these Skylines. Become their friends, because or else you're in for trouble, all right? And if you buy somebody else's project, which is not put together, and if you're not handy, it's just, you're asking for trouble. For argument's sake, my good friend Richard, he gave me so much parts for this car, and every time I get stuck somewhere, I bounce stuff off him. Wonderful, knowledgeable guy. He has an R32 with an RB20 built block, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden he found a good running GTR. So he bought the GTR and he flipped the R32. And the guy paid 15 grand Canadian, which is like 12 grand American, for a good body, no interiors, non-running car. Hats off to you, Richard. I don't know how you flipped it, but you did good. You did good. Now, the guy who purchased it, he's looking for parts, list of parts. I saw his ad, and I'm like, yeah, it's here. Oh my God, that was so funny. But what I'm trying to say is, by the time he's done putting the car together on the road, and hopefully he does the work himself. If it doesn't do the work himself, he'll be closer to 25 grand Canadian, which is about 20 grand US for an R32 GTST. He might as well spend the money, same amount of money, and bought a running, driving car. And he could have enjoyed this season, the next season, and coming season. I don't know when that car is going to be. Okay, I'm done venting. I'm done venting. All I'm trying to say is, if you want to buy an R32 Skyline, buy a running, driving one. All right, now let's go to showing you what to look for when you are looking to buy an R32 Skyline. First thing to look for when you're buying an R32 Skyline are stickers. Stickers everywhere. here, 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 there, and most importantly, this little blue sticker, all right? Because right over here, it says HCR32, and HCR code starts for the R32 GTST Skyline. Now, if you're looking for a GTR, your code will start with BNR. Also make sure the code over here, HCR32 018759, it matches HCR32 018759, because that is the chassis code. That is the VIN number. The next thing is to look for the color code. So right over here, the color code for this car is KH2, which is the gray silver metallic. Now, that is the most common R32 Skyline color. But the previous owner, I don't know what he did with this car. I had to do a paint job, and when I did the paint job, I decided to change the color to this baby blue. It seems like anybody and everybody that saw this car, they loves the color, so I'm sticking with it. 80% of the cars out there will have some sort of a color change or a respray or something like that in their lifetime. And it's okay. It's okay, because what happens is in Japan, almost nobody parks their car indoors. 9 out of 10 times, these cars will be parked outside. It will get beaten by the sun. The clear coat peels off and all sorts of issues. So it's okay to have a car which is repainted or resprayed, but it has to be done for the right reasons. Meaning, it's not done to hide an accident or a problem, a rust problem. These cars are 31 years old. I was born in 88. It's an 89 car. 31 years old. All right. Rust is a problem. I can see a little bit of pooling water over there. I'm going to have to address that because that will cause me another issue, and I don't want none of that. So a lot of time people do these color changes or blah, blah, blah to do a rust repair. And watch out for those things. They always rust in these shock towers, both sides. In these corners, watch out for them. They rust right over there, and they also rust in the bottom of the shock towers and same on the both sides. Keep your eye out for rusting. Next spots is to check all these corners. This windshield, I took this windshield off to do a proper paint job. All right, when we put it back, so I have some excess urethane over here, but these corner and that corner are very prone to rusting. These areas, very prone to rusting. Same story on the back side. All of these areas, I don't know how water gets in, it drips down all the way here. I have seen way too many cars right over here, is huge amount of rust. So what I did, watch the video, because this is an aftermarket molding. I put the new molding in, I put some urethane sealer just so that the water literally drips around and goes around. I had a little bit of rust in this corner, had to take this windshield off. Very expensive job. A lot of the time, right here, I'm missing the rear windshield wiper. I'm not missing it, it's inside the car. To take this windshield off, you're gonna have to take the wiper off. And a lot of the time, people crack this windshield while they take the wiper off. Very expensive repair, very expensive. So all I did was took a grommet, put it in there. Next is very common issue to rust around these corners. Very common. And also put your hand inside to see if that corner is dry, because a lot of the times water channels through here and comes here, and I don't know how it makes it in, and then you're gonna have a rusty bottom. And these panels, because they're so accessible, a good thing to do is, put your hand in and run through the back, because you can run all the way to the back and see if there is any repair work in it. And it's okay to have a little bit of repair work. In this car, it's straight as an arrow, but sometimes you may see a different car in there. Watch out for those. A lot of these times, these cars will come with a swap dash, because the JDM dash only goes to 180. So there's a lot of other companies will provide you with a dash that goes to 320 or at least 300. Be careful with those, because nailing down the actual kilometers in these cars coming from Japan is very hard. One thing you really should do is run a Japanese Carfax. So that will sort of give you an idea of the kilometers. Sometimes if the dash was changed correctly, you're going to see a sticker right over here. It will show you the odometer with the Japanese government seal. Now, because I still have the stock dash, so I'm pretty confident the 170K on this dash pretty accurate. And the last 4,000K, I put it myself. Funny thing is, I bought this R32 Skyline Hot Wheels car 3 or 4 years ago. Little that I know, I will actually end up buying an R32 Skyline. Probably should have bought a 911 Turbo. Then I would have ended up with the 911 Turbo. Next, it is very hard to find one of these cars unmodded, unmolested, stock JDM form. If you find one of these cars, it's gonna cost you a lot more money, but that is the car will hold the most amount of value and appreciate the most in near future, because believe me, these cars are very expensive now. They're taking off. This is a good investment. The next thing to remember is this timing belt. These are interference motor. You have to figure out when was the last time these timing belts were changed. Usually when somebody does a timing belt change, there's somewhere, somehow you're going to see a sticker of the last time it was done. In my car, there's no sticker. 170K? That's a ticking time bomb. For that reason, next spring, when I start this car, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my buddy's shop and get that timing belt job done. Getting back to the mods, a little bit of mod is okay. As long as they're bolt-ons, they're reversible, that's okay. As you can see, in my RB20, I have an IBT intake, RB26 style intake, which is fantastic because, you know, it really helps with the breathing of the car rather than going all around. And on the manifold side, I have an aftermarket manifold with a custom 3-inch downpipe all the way straight. It also helps the car to breathe. And that's it. Nothing else is aftermarket. Yes, okay, well, you need a big, thick radiator in these cars because, you know, you're gonna, 8,000 RPM all day long. You need something to cool it down. I also have an engine oil cooler in the front, oil filter relocation kit, and I also have a front mount intercooler because if you let the car breathe, it's actually better. It helps with the appreciation of the car. If you disagree, leave it in the comment section because I want to know what your reasoning is. In this car, I also have aftermarket suspension. So I have a TN Flex Z system all around with Cusco's adjustable upper control arms. That way I can sit low with the fitment that I want. I don't want to go too low where I will start scraping everywhere, but it's just low enough. The car is 31 years old. So all of these rubber hoses, after 31 years, I don't expect them to last. So what you should do is go through all these hoses and swap them with the urethane hoses because the urethane hoses, they would last a lot longer than just a regular rubber hose. Again, after 31 years, even probably the urethane hoses will try to start giving you trouble. It's always a good idea to replace all the hoses that you can see or in the car. If it's rubber, get rid of it, change it. These clamps in the OEM vehicle, they may start rusting and whatnot, so change these clamps to a stainless steel clamp system. They're really not expensive, and you know what? You're just gonna save you from so many trouble. The other thing is, a lot of these plastic hangers, they crack. It's just age, man. It's just age. I'm also missing some wires because there's a lot of bleeds done in this car. There's no HVAC, no heat, no cold. This is literally as raw as you can get. I have to come back to the trunk because I wanted to show you something else. While we're doing that, these are the factory igniters, and right now I have a Spitfire or whatever somebody calls them, which I will be swapping back to the factory ones because the factory ones does a really good job. The next upgrade is probably an R8 coil pack or an R35 coil pack. So I'm just going to do that. It's more for reliability than anything. Right here is the opening for your gas tank. It's very important to see this piece. In order to open the gas tank, you're going to have to rip this out. The reason I'm showing you this is for you to realize that this area hasn't been mucked around. This is stock. This is running on stock fuel pump. Nobody messed around this. And also, this is pretty nice and soft still today. Usually they crack. They crack super easy. We are in the cockpit now. I said it. Cockpit. First of all, my son loves this car. We come here, we sit inside for hours, and every time I have to peel him off the driver's seat, and he cries a lot. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, going back to the dash, stock factory dash, because you may see an Nismo dash or something like that, and those have an issue with accurate odometer reading. Next, sticking with the dash, you see this perfectly good bubble-less dash. Every R32 Skyline will have a bubble somewhere around these lines. I don't know, I'm lucky that this dash does not have a bubble. Nowhere. I was very impressed. I was super impressed. Everybody that I talked to, they were all super impressed. These roof liners, they have a tendency to sag. So keep an eye out for them. As long as it's nice and sturdy. I know this is a little dirty. I almost don't want to clean it with water because what if I start the sagging progress? So just ignore them. As long as they're nice, hard, and sticking there, not sagging, you're good to go, man. Also have to make sure the interior panels are good, not like mine. They need to be glued together properly. On the driver's side, they're far better condition on the passenger side. The flooring is very important because a lot of the times you're going to see rust under the floors. So take the carpets off and try and knock everywhere to see if there's any resemblance or residue of rust. Same with the driver's side. The next is the back seat, because a lot of the guys, if the car has been tracked or drift, they will take the back seat off just to, get some more weight off the vehicle. When I purchased this vehicle, I don't know if it was drift or whatnot, the back seat was off, but it was also on a project car kind of category, which could be the reason. I don't believe this car was drifted because It does not have any of the drift related damage that usually persist in a car. Anyway, thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you like what you see, please subscribe and click the bell notification. A lot more Skyline and 300ZX related stuff coming in. Now, the next video, I want to make the next video about the different variants of R32 Skyline. Apparently there was 22 different variants of R32 Skyline, and I can talk about which ones to buy, which ones not to buy, and in all, the R32 chassis is really shooting up. If you can afford it, buy it now, because in a couple of years they're going to be unaffordable and they will turn into an investment that will pay you dividends in the near future. Once again, subscribe and stay tuned.